Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So the other day I got a comment asking me a question on my Sinis SMXE 125cc review, asking me, and I will quote, "What other bikes would you suggest? I'm going to do my CBT and I live in a rural area, Northumberland. I want a bike for exploring, mainly off-road with a little bit of on-road." So basically he's after a dedicated Greenlaning machine. But the thing is, there really isn't many to pick from, and I can't remember if the Sinis uses this engine, but things like, the Aprilia Crosser MX Bike Style 125 uses the exact same engine as like the DSR, which I've done a review on. So I'm going to have a look through on Bike Trader and see what's available in that category, because I don't think there's a huge amount of options. So this actually should answer this quite quickly for him, and he'll get an idea of prices and stuff. So we're going to go 125cc, and then we're going to look at type, make body type. So we want adventure, yes. Custom cruise, no. Mini bike, naked. Retro, sports tourer. I'm going to stick to the more off-roady based ones because as he said, it's mostly for off-road. Classic, e-bike, moped, quad, ATV, nope. Scooter. Why is there a trail bike, and a trials bike? I get the trials, but the trails? We'll include that one. Tourer, super sport, sidecar, roadster, motocross, yep. Enduro, why not? Commuter, no, because that doesn't fall into it. And close. Then we will sort this by high to low. So we start with the nose, because these will all be electrics and Huskies and KTMs, and they are specialist off-road machines. And also whether you want to buy a KTM or not at the moment is that's a questionable thing. Second hand's not an issue, but not sure I'd be buying one new just yet. So let's skip on down until we start seeing things that make a lot more sense. Yeah, these are all not road legal. We have to remember they're on a CBT here, so some of the old two-strokes that are probably going to come up might not be suitable. I'm going to open these in another tab, and then I'm going to also bring up that one to show a point. And yeah, there's the DSR, perfect. We've got those side by side, so I can talk about the thing. Aprilia again. I'm not going to have loads of the same one. What's this? I've never even heard of that bike. Okay, let's look at that one. Thing is, they're going to be Chinese, which is fine. I'm a proponent of Chinese bikes if they're good ones, and if you know how to look after a bike. Don't abuse it, because they don't take it well. Now, obviously, I've picked from the top end. Yeah, that's one I need to get out. I've picked from the top end of prices, so you can look around for the same bike, maybe fewer miles, maybe not quite as good nick. Because, of course, you wanting to use it off-road mostly means that if you get one that's already a bit bashed up, you're probably not going to be too bothered about that, because it just stops you from worrying doing it yourself. Oh, Andy Sill. Recognise it anyway. Oh, that's our last page. Okay, good. Right. We'll take some of these cheap ones to look through. Yeah, we can talk about that. That's interesting. Oh, we got another VanVan. 75... Right, okay. Cool. Okay, so let's look through our bikes. So we got the Reju Adventura 125. Looks quite cool. Clearly ripping off KTM. Engine. Could I see the other side of the engine, please? There we go. Right, this casing and that there, although it's very common between things, looks a little bit too familiar to me. But we'll see more in time. Let me guess, it's got 15 brake horsepower. More information. A1 license. Blah, blah, blah. No power given. Okay. So there is an option, but I'm not going to say these are good, reliable bikes because I've never reviewed this bike and I don't know much about them. But that's the wonderful thing about this channel. People will chime in if they know anything about these bikes. Now, I ask people who have an opinion of a bike they've never seen or heard, and if it's a story from a mate who bought it from someone for 50 quid and it was the most unreliable thing ever, not a good example. If you bought one new and you had problems with it, or you know someone who bought one new and had problems with it, and you're going to be honest about the information you give, then do. That's the thing, but you gotta read between the lines, because you get some sour owners who don't maintain a bike and then blame it on the bike. It's like you buy the cheapest bike, you don't give it any care, you abuse it for 5 years and then wonder why it's getting problems, or 2 years, or even a year. I've seen people just do some horrible stuff to bikes in a short amount of time. Anyway, it's going to get too long if I keep talking like this. So, Reju Adventura 125, option, but I don't know too much about that one. Yamaha YZ125, two-stroke. This looks like it's, about 1990 almost, 1989. Note, this is two-stroke. This might not be CBT legal. It might need to be tested. This is not a road legal bike either, but that does not say you can't use these on CBTs on the road, because a daytime MOT, if you only ride in the day, is very easy to get. But yeah, it's worth saying that you'll find lots of these, but keep in mind they may not be road legal if they haven't got plates. Though that's not the biggest issue ever, but the other issue is they may not be compliant with the CBT. People will say, it don't matter, they'll never know. No, you don't want to risk that, trust me. Okay, so the Aprilia RX125. So, note the shape of this, which is, I know this is the same between a lot of bikes, but just notice the placement and the way it is. Activator for the clutch arm out the top here, which is not necessarily unusual, but it's a sign to put together. Star shape here, button in the middle. We've got this knurled circle here, which probably this oil filter, and then we've got our water pump up here. That is not an Aprilia engine. That is an engine which is in the Aprilia and the DSR, which I'll show in a minute. So yeah, these are an option, but I don't know if I go with the Aprilia one because they're more expensive. But then again, the follow-up from Aprilia might be better than the... I don't know, because, as I say, you've also got things like the UM DSR. And if you note... that's the same engine. Yeah, they've changed this casing a little bit, but you can see the layout. That's the same engine. And that one is cheaper, new. Could it be that maybe the suspension is cheaper? Maybe there's some other bits that aren't put together as well. Who knows? I had a DSR, but it wasn't this one. Or have they even changed? I must have done because of Euro 5.5, but then maybe this was pre-regged. Because it's new still, right? But anyway, I have a review on the DSR. But this is kind of the point I'm trying to make here. You'll note with this engine, there isn't many really that are different. Right, Reju MTR. Now that isn't the same engine. You know, it seems very similar because you've got that almost knurled looking thing here, if you can even see through all this. But the water pump is in a totally different location. Wait, is this whole engine being canted up more? So actually it is the same one, it just looks different because... Wait. Yep. I think this whole engine's canted further forward. And that's why... yeah, I think that's the same engine. Okay, so again, there is an option from new. We've looked at second-hand as well, though. There's not a huge amount out there. So, Yamaha WR125. This is one of the bikes I would say is a good... you know, you can be more trusting that this is going to be something that'll last a while if you look after it. These bikes get abused by people and they keep going, from what I've seen, mostly. So if you look after it, that would probably be a really good option for your greenlaning stroke off-roading adventures in Northumberland. Price, though, is, yeah, it's 3.5 for a 10,000 mile old, a 14-year-old bike. That's crazy. If you told me it was a 125 that cost $4,000 10 years ago, 4.5, and it's got 10,000 miles on it, 14 years old. Sorry if I got the date wrong then when I said that. I feel like I did. That many miles, that old, 2.5. I wouldn't pay anywhere near $3,000 for that. But, you know, maybe the prices are high. FB Mondal SMX Enduro, aka the same goddamn engine. I'm telling you, all of them have got this engine. So this is the thing, you buy this, you buy that, and you'll just end up with the same bike with a different frame. And a lot of the options, you'll notice, like, if we look at the... actually, no, I need to go back to the Reju. Yeah, this one. Those images are pants. So, no, the UM's not really good for me. Nor that one. Okay, we'll do it with this one because this... I don't even know who this company is, but what I do know is these forks, these yokes, these brakes, I think, although that might be a different cut on the disc. Those calipers all look very, very, very much like what you got on that looks like a dep exhaust, like the stainless one you got on the Sinus Apaches. This all looks like, Lex Moto, Pulse Adrenaline. Well, really, the reality of it, the Quingy, or Quoggy, I can't remember how you pronounce it, is the true bike before all the other ones. What I will say here is, look at the goddamn size of that rear sprocket. This bike has got no balls. Or, there are reasons you put sprockets that big on things, and I can't think of this being a good... That tells me something about that engine. Okay, so the Zontes. This is another good possibility. It has got an underslung exhaust in this example. I don't know if they normally have that. I didn't think they did. Why is this one blue? Why have you mixed up image? Whatever. Okay, that's how it normally comes out. So ground clearance isn't as good. The only thing about these, and I have reviewed this bike, but would concern me, is it has a ton of electronics on it. And it is Chinese, and I worry about if it gets really wet and muddy and gets shaken around its entire life, whether that could bring some electrical issues out that might not happen on the road bikes, because I don't hear too much about the electrics going wrong on them, but I know there's going to be one or two out there that has problems. Whether that was caused by the bike or someone else or not is another thing. So that is an option, the Zontes, but I'm not sure that's the one I'd choose for your needs. This is a 125. It is a two-stroke. It is road registered. However, I don't know if that will fall within the CBT allowances, power outputs. If it does, that is a great option if you want something a bit old school, that's very much more dedicated to off-road. Old though. MGB ATX 125. Again, never heard of this brand, ever. And these pictures are awful. Are you selling many on these pictures? I'm imagining not. Oh, maybe that's what I should do. Give up YouTube and just become a photographer taking pictures for garages so they can actually sell their bikes for a decent price. Probably not even a bad idea, to be fair. Although then you replace my services with a camera that's worth some money. That's just what happens. So, yeah, I don't know too much about these. I mean, it looks quite cool. I don't know what sort of power they put out. It does look a lot like the Zontes, but it's a bit shorter and it's a bit more simple. Massive headlight thing going on here, but okay. It's alright, I can't tell you too much about those because I don't know. Again, Yamaha WR125. And when I say I don't know, what I mean is I do not talk about things unless I've had an experience with it or I know directly about it. I am very willing to say I don't know. Whereas a lot of people are very willing to start just pulling bits out of their arse and going, well, it's probably true. And I could say an awful lot of things that are probably true. But it's not known truths. And we in this world need to speak in known truths, not assumed truths everywhere. Anyway, this bike looks clean. Looks pretty good nick. I don't see any massive scrapes like down the swing arm or something like that that's been spray painted over badly. Yeah, look at all that documentation. It looks like another good example of something, and that's only $3,000, that one. Under 10,000 miles, and it's 5 years newer than that other one we looked at that was 3.5. Although I think it might be a slightly different model because of the year, so maybe the years hold their values better. I don't know. But it's interesting, it's cheaper, newer, and has a few less miles. SYM. I hear that some people really like these bikes and dealers are not having many problems with them. I don't know if that works for everyone. This is a sort of bike you could put, from the style of it, you could put some off-road tyres on it, but that suspension doesn't look like it's got a huge amount of travel. Maybe not the best option, but it is a style of bike which could do some off-roading. But I'm basically picking from a small bunch and just saying, look, these are really all your options. Now, how is this said? Now, I would have said this was a Verado, but then some people say, what was it, Varado or Varadero? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it a Verado. It's what loads of people around me call them. These bikes are 125cc twin engines. Look, twin? Not twin engines in the sense of two engines. The other one's in the box. No, twins. People go nuts about these bikes. They are quite heavy. They are very big. I don't know if it's the best off-roading machine, but you can get off-road tyres from. The only thing I'd say was that swing arm looks like it's about 6 inches too short. But people say a lot about these engines. In theory, it should have really good torque, I think. Thinking about it, should. Right, VanVan. This is one of the ones I'm going to pick out and say, that's what you want to get. Look. Now, I know it's not flavour of the month for everyone, but it's $2,500. It's only 15 years old. It's got 12,000 miles on it. But they're small, low-seated, big fat tyre on the rear to get through the mud. Not the best off-road bike in any way, but my God, would you have some fun on that. I think on a nice sunny day, you know, going greenlaning on that, going off-roading would be a lot of fun. Muddy days, maybe not as much, but if you get some knobbly tyres on it, it should be all right. VanVan. Right, again, we have another Aprilia. It's the same one. You can see it's got the same engine as all the other ones. And this one is 1,700 quid. Now stick some off-road tyres on that and you've got yourself a bike which is 2018. 23,000 miles on it, which is fine. As long as it's in good nick. I'm not bothering reading the descriptions too much because... Good points. Oil change. You've done an oil change, so that's one of the selling points. The bare minimum. I'm loving how the bare minimum is now. New rear tyre. Right, this is as well. Look, oil change because you have to. New rear tyre because it was illegal without it. New grips because they were falling off. New chain and sprockets because they were probably rusted and missing teeth. Good points. We fixed stuff before we could sell it. Bad points. Scratches, cracks, wear and tear. Fine. It's going off-road. But yeah... listing things you actually have to do when you're a dealership? Come on. No, that's a private seller sort of thing, saying, oh, I've done an oil change and stuff, save you doing it. Not, it's like a minimum requirement for someone selling them. Here we go. This is the original. Although this isn't actually the original. They've changed the headlight. Oh, hang on a minute. That's not the original plastics, I don't think. No, that looks like a Sinis. This is an updated one. This is the same era as Jesse, my Sinis. But Pulse, before they became Lexmoto, and Sinis, the Adrenalines and the Apache, which everyone knew was the same bike, you know, recognise this engine, because this is the engine where it's kind of like this engine was in everything for years, and now they're replacing it with the one that you're finding in the Aprilia and the UM. This looks like a slightly newer one, but I loved these bikes, and I went greenlaning on these loads. Not the most reliable. This one's pretty old. I don't know what it... I mean, 1,500... I mean, see it. 11,000 miles, 2013, 1,500 pounds. No. Especially as there is a zip tie holding stuff together. Like, no. You are... And this is scratch. You are living in cloud cuckoo land. Sinis Apache. Oh, okay. Oh, it is a Sinis Apache, see? But all of them have got that on the logbook. Because that's what they really are. Sinis Apache. Lovely sounding exhaust. Pops. Chain fit recently. Runs... and rides mint. Cast rims though, that's the thing, you don't want those for off-road. Here is a VanVan that's 1,100 quid. Now you see this has got 24,000 miles on it. It's a 2003. So it's older and it's got more miles on it. I would happily give them more money for this than I would for that other bike. Like, this is rusty and stuff, but it is an old VanVan. And this, look, this has got semi-off-road tyres on it. Not the ideal ones, but you know. And last but not least is this trials bike, which I've only included because 75 quid what? That has to be a typo. Gas TXT 125 Pro Petrol Manual. Apparently it's got 10 miles on it, which could be true for a trials bike. I mean, they do about, I don't know, 50 yards a weekend. It's mostly vertical. 2009, one owner. Gas. This bike wants for nothing. I have gloves, helmet for sale as well, if you need. No, do not sell second-hand helmets. I don't know how many more people who ride bikes need to be told this, or people who have buy and sell groups who are selling second-hand helmets. Stop it. And before people go, oh, well, it's all very well and good if you've got the money. A decent helmet can cost you £100. It's new. You don't want anyone else's head sweat on your head, and you also don't want a misformed helmet, possibly dropped, etc., being the one thing that is protecting your brain, which is your life. Would you cheap out a parachute? Anyway, sorry, side tangent. This bike is immaculate, as seen on photos and videos, has been always kept in dry, blah, blah. First kick or second, I'm selling due to simply not using it. Going to take up trials biking and then change my mind. Has got to be seen to be appreciated. Mate, I don't need to see that. I would give you £75 for that right now. Because I could sell that for a couple £100 in about 10 minutes. You could literally walk down the road and go, 200 quid, 200 quid. And you've just, you know, that has to be a typo. If it's not, someone, for the love of God, go and buy this bike and sell it. I guess part of the problem with trials bikes is you've got to try and find someone who can ride it because they need private land. But there you go. I hope that helps you and doesn't at the same time, because the reason I've made a video on this is also to say, because your question highlighted this, there really aren't a huge amount of options left. So this is not a complete list, because I know there's a couple of models you might find, but they don't seem to be up for sale at the moment. If anyone else has got any bikes in mind, do chime in the comments, make a suggestion. Basically, I'm just trying to get as many models together so this guy's got an idea of what he can pick from. And also for in general, when people know about this stuff, and a few tidbits of information about things I've noticed, like everything using that engine now rather than the engine that was in this. Anyway, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new here. Huge thanks to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube membership supporters. I really do appreciate you guys, and I will catch you in the next one. And if there's any videos like this to do a bike trade or a bike you're trying to find for a certain purpose, you want me to do something like this, comment. It'd be better if you join my Patreon though, because then I'll see it, right? Catch you in the next one.